A few more quick clips coming your way. I've got my front wheel on in final mock-up. This is the fender I'm going to use. It's extraordinary condition stock CB750 from 1977. And this is the brake setup I'm going to use. And these are the actual wheels, which are black powder coat with re-zinced spokes and nicely finished hubs. Of course, I'm going to refinish the fork tubes when I take it apart for final aesthetics. That's the front wheel. I did the rear wheel as well, and I did something, I don't know if you're going to think it's trick or if you think it's candy, but everybody vents the rear brake backing plate, and I did the same thing, and I had some grommets. These are brass grommets, and I don't know if I like it or not. I haven't really decided, but this is the final configuration for the wheel. I got a 150/17/70 rear tire on it, and I've drilled out the brake backing plate, and then to highlight it, to make it kind of pop, I tapped in, because I drilled them just under the grommet size, I tapped in these brass grommets. And I've walked it around it for a couple days now, and I kind of like it because it's different, but I don't know if it's just too much contrast and too much in your face. I can always take them out, no big deal. I'd still have the drilled one, and then it would just kind of disappear, wouldn't it? You wouldn't even see the holes. The other thing that you can do if you kind of like the idea is maybe use stainless steel grommets. That way it's a little bit more subdued and the gold won't pop out so much. Okay, I'm going to show you the rear fender setup before I get to my seat pan. So let me show you my rear fender configuration. What I did was I took a stock fender that was a really nice fender, and I wanted to make a bobber out of it, a bob fender out of it, but I wanted to keep the factory edge, so I had to really shorten the fender to roll it back up on the tire. You can see that the mount that I'm using for the Cafe tail, I'm using these rubber grommets, which are the same rubber grommets they use for the battery box. I drilled into the fender, and then the seat pan drops right through these holes and it bolts from the bottom. To get the rear fender configuration in, I've cut away the existing rolled edge, and this is a sub fender for my cut fender. Now when I lay my cut fender, which is the 750 fender, the end of the 750 fender that would be normally down here someplace, when I roll that on here, it'll fit right over the top of this, and this will be the sub fender, and I'll bolt this system together. And I'm going to cut the fender, actually, around this hump. I'm going to show you right now what that looks like, because I have the fender in my left hand here. Fender goes just like that. And look how nice that looks now, because I've got the factory rolled edge in a cut fender. And I'm using a cat eye light. I think I might have mentioned that in a previous video, but I'm not really quite sure. Made that black with a clear lens on it, or a smoked lens on it, because I didn't want to see red from the back either. And originally I was going to leave this fender extension on, but after I had everything put together, I didn't like the fender sticking out past the tail, and so I decided to remove all that stuff, and it looks a lot cleaner now. And I'll show you in another clip or two what I've decided to do to terminate that frame end. But I'm going to put this together for you, show you one more short little clip on this put together, along with my knee dents for my tank. Knee dents are kind of like snowflakes. I've never seen two knee dents that are exactly the same, and mine follow that suit. I actually sat on the Cafe tail, stuck my knees in the tank where it would be comfortable for me while I'm on the rear sets where I would actually be using them, then used a magic marker to outline my knee, and then I started beating on the tank at that point. And I'll show you this whole thing put together in just a minute or two. Here we are. This is my final walk around before cosmetics. As you can see that I have my tank dents in here, ready for a body filler to ferret out any of the rough spots. I'm going to bond over this emblem too. Haven't decided what exactly I'm going to use for a graphic for the tank and the side cover. I kind of decided to name this 750 after my son. So my son's name's Con, so it's a Con 750. A Con 750 Honda. I think that sounds pretty cool. And somehow or another I'm going to work his name into the graphic. He's 8 years old, and I think when he's old enough to ride this thing to school, I think he'll be happy with it, don't you? I'll give you the final walk around. This is ready to tear down and send out for, well, I have to do some finish welding, I'm sorry. I'll back up there. And then send those parts out for zinc and powder coat. I do my own paint, so I'm going to be playing with that here in the shop. There's a lot of cosmetic things that I'm going to be doing here, most everything. And like I said, the only thing I send out is powder coat, chrome, and upholstery. And so this is what we're building. Last little walk around before powder coat. I think it turned out really good, don't you? A lot of details, that's for sure, in the assembly process. The little things get changed around here and there. But all in all, I really like it. I like it a lot. I think it's unique enough to be interesting. And my finish work is, I don't know, it's pretty well thought of. I've got a lot of motorcycles all over the world, and I haven't had a complaint yet. I'll post this thing and then I'll get on with my job here. I've kind of postponed it a little bit during the Christmas holidays, but I'm back on it now. We'll see you later.